Okay, welcome back. In this Wireless Sedona by Aurora-AX session, we'll be covering the proper method of getting and putting applications into the Aurora-AX Wireless Sedona Controllers, as well as modifying or building applications in the device. So as you can see on screen, we still have the Aurora WIO12 and 24 that we previously discovered into the Sedona network in the previous section. So let's go ahead and enter into a tunnel session in the WIO24. And we'll start by examining the program that is in the device. And what you'll see is a generic program that we have installed in the 24IO that is running information off of a test board here in the office. You can see analog inputs, reset block, and analog output, voltage, and then digital inputs and digital outputs. So, assuming we want to make changes to this generic program, we simply open up the Sedona Palette under Window in the sidebars. You see the Control Palette, and below it is the Sedona Palette. The Sedona Palette is only activated when you're actually tunneled into one of the wireless Sedona controllers. So in this case, we drop down in the palette and we can see all of the available kits that are associated with this device. So if we wanted to bring over a input for a Type 3 thermistor, we see the WIO8646 AI3T. So we select that and then drop over the AI3T. And then now we have an additional input that we can then go into the property and modify. So if we open up the property sheet of the actual input, this is where you can identify which input the thermistor is going to be landed on. So if we're going to be on UI4, we would just select the fourth input and select Save. Now if we go back to the previous screen, we see the input is there. So if we wanted to add additional values, an AO volt for example, we simply drag over additional logic blocks, and then of course we're adding the points that we want to then discover in the Niagara network. Now as you can see, because we have actually made changes to this application, there's an orange star over the app icon. So to acknowledge that, you need to right click and save if you want to save the changes you've made. Once you've done that, you need to actually restart the controller. This will save the changes, and the changes will be visible upon the next time you enter into the device. You can see the device left the network on a restart. And if we drop over into the property sheet, we can actually see it come back here first and then go back to the Sedona network, and the device should be rejoined. Okay, the device repopulated back here. Yellow's gone, so we can right click and go ahead and enter into a tunnel session again. Now, if we go back into the program, we should have the AO volt and the AI3T that we just added to the network or to the program should be visible, and it is. So assuming we want to save this program, this is a custom air handling unit profile that you like and you want to save it for the next job, let's go through the process of actually getting this application. So if you go into App Manager, you have two options, get and put. We want to get this application out because we want to save it for the next time we need it. And of course it has a generic current path of Niagara, your version, backup, Sedona, and apps. So let's just save this and call it Online App Demo 1. Hit Save. Now it's going to identify the location, and then you select Next and Finish. And it's that simple. The provisioning is finished, so we can close out of the App Manager. And at this point, if you open up your file system up top and go to Sys Home, you can see your tree structure for the version of Niagara you're in. So if you open up your backups folder, Sedona, and apps, the online demo SAX file should be right here, Online App Demo 1. So you have a successful backup. So at this point, we have gotten that application. So let's go ahead and decide which application we want to put in the controller now. So we use the second option. We want to put an app in. So in this case, we're going to scroll down and we have a separate application that we're going to use with the same pan ID of 0 called WIO24 Show. So we want to open that app. It shows that we're putting this application in and select Next. Now it goes through here and identifies any missing kits or dependencies that are required for the kits installed in the controller. And you can see the available kits below. So nothing is missing, so we can simply click on Next and then Finish. And at this point, it's committing the files, and any S-code rewriting that needs to take place will happen at this point. So we've committed the files, we have a success, and now we're prompted to restart the device. So we initiate a restart. Once again, the device will drop offline. Go back to the Sedona network. We can either verify here or in the property sheet. And sometimes the restart is almost instantaneous and a rejoin happens before you can actually go view it. So in this case it appears to be back on. So let's go ahead and try to go back in, and hopefully the restart has not delayed anything here. Alright, we open up the app and double click Program again. And you should see a visible difference in the program running in the device now. So it's that simple. We've gone from adding individual components to an application and getting the app and saving it, and then putting a completely new app in the device itself, and you can see a totally different program running in the controller. So before we actually discover the points into the Niagara network, let's go into the 12 to show you some features that you may need when you're putting custom applications in this device. So now we're in a 12IO controller, and we want to go into the app manager, and let's say I want to put an application in like the 24IO, which I could have just selected continue there, but I want to put that application in this 12. Now the application will run in the 12 as long as you select the appropriate IO configuration based on the difference in the IO capacity. However, as you'll see here, as it builds the kits, we're missing dependencies. So simply by scrolling down in the kit manager here and finding the 8646 kits that are specific to the other controller, you can start selecting the dependencies, and you'll see them go away as you select and add. So if we continue adding the dependencies, the reset, now at this point if I were to select Next, it would go through the same process and rebuild this application and put it in the 12. We're going to cancel out of this because we don't want to do that at this point. However, assuming you have available memory in the device, and you can go into the kit manager of each device, and this is where you get the same view that you just saw, where if you wanted to add custom kits to your particular controller. In this case it's a 4242 or 4224. Those kits are synonymous, where you can go in and add additional kits to the particular controller. So very neat feature, and of course utilized when building custom applications. So let's go ahead and disconnect from this controller, and we've seen the program that we've added to the 24. So in the 24 here in the Sedona network, if we go into the wire sheet of the controller itself, obviously nothing is there because we've not discovered anything at this point. So if we double click on the points folder and simply select Discover, now the Jace is going out and looking for the points in the controller itself on the network. Alright, there's the app. And again, this should look very familiar. You're back in the same tree structure as if you're in the controller, and you drop program down. In this case, these are all the points that are associated with that 24IO. If we do the same thing with the 12 and discover the points in the 12, I will add a few of these to the network because I know there are certain points that are tied to actual values. Like for example, the AI3 T1 is tied to a thermistor. So if we add that to the network, we should see an immediate reading of 73.4 degrees, which is the current temperature in our office. And if we go down to the AO or AI volt, and we look at the reading here, it should give us the humidity reading in the office as well. And right now it's at 54.3%. So these are live values being read from the controller, and you can see them changing. The same thing with your DIs. So if you want to select that, you just come down and start adding these points. Well, as you add every one of the type of points to your network, whether it's a bullet point or an enum, writable, what have you, you simply add to the network, and then if you go back into the wire sheet of the particular controller, you can see that they have been in fact published to your Niagara network. So it's that simple. Setting up the network, discovering your controllers, adjusting or putting applications, getting applications out, adding kits to the particular controller, and then discovering the points in the Niagara network.